Hi friends, today is an exciting video because we have quite a new product from Suqqu. And before we get into it, I just wanted to extend my thank you to the Suqqu Europe team for sending PR, not only the brow products, but we have a new highlighter formula, as well as 2 complexion shades from their Smooth Matte Loose Powder line. Firstly, the new brow products that Suqqu released. And listen, when it comes to brow products, I'm more conservative because I'm locked into my Benefit Goof Proof pencil that I have been using for years, which discourages me to try anything else because once you love something, you just stick to it. And when it comes to brows, unlike bronzer and blush, I repurchase the same product over and over again. But these brow products from Suqqu, definitely now in heavy contention for one of my favorite brow pencil, brow gel. Introducing Suqqu's new eyebrow collection. Over recent years, eyebrows have undergone a significant evolution and diversity in brows is trending. From overplucked and thin to bold and bushy, brows are the accent to the face. Often viewed as a supporting role compared to other features of the face, Suqqu is bringing brows to the forefront, offering a range of new brow products. Experiment with your brow look by layering formulas designed to offer different levels of pigment and hold. Their new eyebrow collection will be available at Selfridges on September 12th, as well as Harrods, Liberty London, followed by Cult Beauty. We don't have a date for Cult Beauty, but make sure you are following Suqqu Europe for that update. Starting with the Suqqu Coloring Eyebrow, an easy-to-use brow tamer, ideal for brow beginners as well as brow connoisseurs. The Coloring Eyebrow helps achieve a fluffy and natural finish in just a stroke. The formula contains fine pearl pigments to brighten and add a natural dimension to the brow, while the ultra-fine brush ensures the right amount of product is dispersed while coating each individual hair with pigment for a dimensional finish without making brows feel stiff. The long handle of the brush is designed for ease of application, while the sweat and water-resistant formula holds your look all day. I requested shade 2, Sand, a soft brown that has cooler undertones for an effortless look. They also have 01 Brown, a natural brown that subtly brightens the brows with warm tones, and 03 Mauve, a brown with a subtle mauve undertone that creates vivid brow definition. Now, the reason why I chose Sand was because I thought it was most fitting for creating a lighter gradient starting at the beginning of my brow and then perhaps using the gel, which I'll describe in a moment for the rest. The mauve, though, sounds intriguing, and to have like that mauve undertone, which I know will be nuanced and not literal, and I think it would add interesting coloring to the brows. So I might have to think about picking that up on the 12th, but you know, it'll be in the basket, not pulling the trigger yet. Next, we have the Suqqu Setting Eyebrow Gel. Brushed up brows are all about finding the balance between lifted and groomed. The setting gel helps keep the hairs in place in the perfect arch while providing volume and definition, and the vertical brush lifts brows up. Formulated with an oil gel for a quick dry finish that does not become white and flaky. The setting gel can be used on its own or layered on top of other Suqqu brow products and is sweat and water resistant for all day hold. The eyebrow gel only comes in one color, 01 Sheer Brown, a versatile, soft, and neutral wash of color with a touch of luster. This eyebrow gel blew my socks off because I wasn't expecting how great of a hold it provides without feeling heavy or stiff in my brow hairs. And if you were thinking about the Benefit Precision Gel, my apologies for not remembering the name. That is my go-to brow gel, and I love that product. But this is a little more refined in terms of the texture, the formula itself. It's lightweight, but it does provide fantastic hold, and I do like how it just has a translucent brown shade to it that's not going to overtake your brows, but still provide a little bit of coloring just for that body. Next, we have the Smooth Eyebrow Pencil. This was the product that delightfully impressed me because, again, I love my Goof Proof brow pencil. I've been using it for years, but there are 2 appealing things about this product that I'll go into. Let's read the description first. Carefully crafted for ultimate precision application, the eyebrow pencil is designed to draw and fill in your brows. The 1.5mm fine tip creates precise hair-like lines for seamless, refined brows. Formulated with a solid oil that has a melting point similar to skin temperature so that it warms on contact when applied, the eyebrow pencil glides on smoothly and is sweat and water resistant. tint. The pencil is designed to be the slightest bit flexible, ensuring its smooth application. The smooth eyebrow pencil comes in 5 shades: 01 Khaki for depth and dimension, 02 Brown soft versatile warm brown, 03 Sand a gray tone brown, 04 Mauve for the fashion forward mellow pink tone, and lastly 05 Gray adds depth and a subtle darkness. I chose 01 Khaki and 03 Sand, and you can see with the swatch that the khaki does have a bit of an olive tone to it, which I think wildly unique. And there might be a brow pencil out there that has a similar tone, but again, because I haven't been on a quest for eyebrow pencils, I'm not aware of it. Until I used khaki, I was like, okay, I get it. And 03 Sand, the gray tone brown, I couldn't ask for a perfect brow shade because that's the one I used today, and I feel it provides that right shadowing without appearing too heavy, too color rich on my brows, because I was apprehensive about 02 Brown, warm brown. I didn't know what warm brown would be to Suqqu, so that's why I stuck with the gray tone brown, because typically the cooler neutral brow shades appear better on my complexion because of my neutral undertone. Too warm of a brown that has a little too red in there kind of appears out of place. So that's why I chose 01 and 03. And we'll go over the footage in detail after we go over the 3D Control Eyebrow Powder. Now this product itself isn't new, but I believe the powders have new shades. A Suqqu cult favorite, the 3D Control Eyebrow is now available in 2 additional shades designed to create depth and sculpting definition for perfectly groomed brows. I think the one shade that's already existing, now we have 2 additional. 03 Sand, suitable for lighter tones to provide a soft wash of color or layer with other brow products for a deeper finish. And what I have, 04 Black Brown, highly pigmented for darker shades. This can be paired with other brow products to add more dimension. Personally, for me, I don't think I'm a great candidate for brow powder because I have a lot of hair to begin with, and what brow powders usually do is just add a little too much shading for what I wish to achieve. So it kind of appears like caterpillar brows on my forehead, but I understand how useful a brow powder can be, especially for someone that has thinner brows and need that extra coloring so that they have just a better backdrop for their brow shape. And the brow powder itself is smooth and diffuses easily, as you will see, or you have already seen in the footage. Probably will drop more stills and all that for the comparisons. Let's move on to the Reflect highlighter. Inspired by the beauty of natural gemstones, Suqqu has created the new Reflect highlighter in 2 limited edition shades. Achieve a flawless and delicate lit from within glow with the Feather Light new highlighter. These highlighters will also be available on September 12th in 2 shades: 101 White Opal, which is the one I requested. The translucent highlighter blends silver and blue pearls to achieve an opalescent glow. A touch of red and gold pearls help ensure it blends into skin to elevate natural radiance. 102 Sakura Quartz, a pearly pink color using a blend of red and silver pearls with accents of blue and gold pearls for balance. This shade adds warm radiance to the skin with an elevated shimmery finish. I had a hard time choosing between the two because Sakura Quartz is right up my alley, but I was intrigued by White Opal to see if it truly delivers more of like that universal opalescent glow, and that's what I applied here on my cheekbones today. It can appear icy, I believe, if you apply too much, especially depending on your skin tone, but I think it does deliver a beautiful lit from within effect as the description outlines. And because of the multi-pearl mixture in there, it's not just all silver again, especially with White Opal having a little bit of the red and gold in there, I think helps balance out the look. And lastly, we have new shades that have been added to the Suqqu Smooth Matte Loose Powder, which has a matte veil finish as if to wear elegance on the skin. In order to deliver Suqqu's base makeup in a wider range of shades, 30E medium deep and 40E medium deep to deep are newly added. Soothes the glow of Suqqu's foundation while beautifully showing through and gives it a clean matte finish while having a moist and silky texture to touch. Deep color pearls are blended to express beautiful colors. Now let's go back to the brow products as I pull you through additional b-roll, what you might have not seen already. And I'll start with the brow powder because that's what I began with here, again in 04. And this is a Hokuro Nagi eyebrow brush. You can see that it's stiff, and I wanted to brush the lighter shade through the front of my brow just to add a little bit of coloring. Went in with the middle shade for the majority of my brow, just striking through and relying on the brush stiffness to diffuse that color through my brows. It doesn't provide a whole lot of structure, as you see that the bottom part of my brow is not completely even, but it's fine. I think the brow powder, despite that, provides an easy brow for me to throw on if I'm having a low makeup day or a no makeup day. Sometimes I just want to brow on for the gym. I'll brow on a moisture glaze, but I have been paying more attention to my brows lately, and I do think they make a difference in just adding a little more structure to the face. But because these shades are lightweight, they're not in your face, I still feel my brows don't appear as intense if I don't have any other makeup on. Now for the brow gel, I applied it on top of the brow powder, and you can see how easily it combs through the brows. It's not heavy, it's lightweight, and gives beautiful structure to my hairs without, again, the brows appearing stiff. And you can see with one side, with the powder, the brow powder side is a little darker, right? So there's a little more color richness there, and I think a little more structure from the brow gel. And here's a quick swatch of what the brow gel looks like. Again, it's an oil gel, so the pigmentation is not going to be in your face, which is what Suqqu had explained. And running the brow gel through the other side without brow powder, this is how my brows look with just the brow gel on its own compared to with brow powder. And I gotta say, with the side by side, I don't need the brow powder. I'm fine with just the brow gel. Even though, again, yes, the right brow, as I'm looking here on my screen, it might be your left, but the second brow I did doesn't appear as dark as the brow powder side, but I don't mind because I love the structure from the brow gel. My hairs look upright, they look fluffy, but the hairs themselves don't feel stiff at all. Now for the coloring brown in shade 03 Sand. This is different from the brow gel in that it's a little more flexible because the role of this product is to give a little more color versus a little more hold, which I think is delivered by the brow gel. And as you see, a much cooler undertone, and I fluffed that through my entire brow just to see the overall effect it will have. And compared to my second brow, this brow looks significantly lighter and not terrible, right? But I think I would reserve the sand color just to be placed on the front of my brow, and then we'll use the brow gel on the remainder of my brow, the main body of it, through the arch and through the tail, because it does appear a little light for me on my entire brow, which is why I'm intrigued by mauve, because I think that'll be such a cool color to run through my entire brow and see how the overall effect looks. Now with the brow pencil, and I didn't mention this at the beginning when reading the product description, but what's appealing to me about Suqqu's brow pencil, which is they sell the body of the pencil separately. You have the spoolie end and the body that holds the pencil insert, so you could buy the insert separately, which I think makes it a little more economical, where if that pencil insertion runs out, you can just buy another one of those instead of buying an entirely new pencil, which is what I have to do with the Benefit one. That has been my #1 gripe, and I dealt with it because I loved it so much, but this is pulling me to the Suqqu side simply for this setup. I don't have to buy an entirely new brow pencil if I run out of the pencil side, and could just screw in another color if I wanted to rotate through several from 1 through 5. Again, I just have 1 and 3. Swatching 03 Sand, the gray tone brown, and 01 Khaki. I love these shades. I just think they have a beautiful effect on the brows without appearing too literal in terms of color when applying. I started off with Khaki, and I washed off the brow powder, so we're starting from scratch, beginning at the front of my brow and taking it through the base to even out that portion. And even though this is the khaki color, when all is said and done, my eyebrows don't look green. I think the khaki undertone is the perfect delivery of color. And What I enjoy mostly about this brow pencil is, yes, it is a smaller pencil, more precision there, but the fact that I can quickly sketch and not have to be so careful around the base of my brow like I have to be with my goof proof pencil, because it is a larger pencil design, which I think lays out larger room for error, right? If you get too freeform about it, you might get too much pencil through the brow, but the small pencil makes it insanely easy to quickly sketch and not mess up. But you see how soft that arch pencil sketch is? It's not in your face khaki color, and you can build it up. And what Suqqu had explained about the oil melting at skin contact is that you have the time to warm up the texture and the color to the brow hair and just go in as much as you like, build it accordingly, and it not appear overly saturated. Close-ups of the khaki. Look at that brow, man. I adore how these look, and I am pleased with the color. It does not look green, it does not look olive, and my brows have beautiful structure to them, and this was an insanely easy shape to achieve. Now going in with 03 Sand, the gray tone brown. Same experience, except now we just have a different shade, and we'll try to make out the differences, but I believe 03 is a little more, compared to the khaki, it's gonna appear a little more brown, but still have like that grayish tone. It almost appears like mauve-y, even though they have a mauve shade in the lineup. And again, insanely satisfying with the smaller pencil shape, just to quickly sketch the brow shape and not have to be so careful about it. And here are side-by-side comparisons of how the brows look. And again, it's hard to make out the difference in color. I think what is important to realize is just the shading for both khaki and sand melted beautifully into the brows. It's like non-detectable. It looks like my brow hair. And I decided to run through the brow gel on both sides. The combination of pencil and brow gel, oof, I couldn't get a better brow experience. And I've been using these ever since they arrived, going between khaki and sand, using the color brow, the gel, mixing and matching. These products are phenomenal. And I will still use my goof proof pencil 100%. But I just love the experience of whipping that pencil like a madwoman through my brows in a way that I can't get away with goof proof. And yes, I am fully aware that the Benefit brow line has precisely my brow, which I think takes on a similar diameter to 1.5 millimeter. I'm not entirely sure. They appear the same, but what I enjoy about the Suqqu pencil is not that it's drier. It might feel drier upon contact, but the more you run the pencil through your brows, as the description explained, it will start to melt to your skin temperature and you'll get more coloring. It almost has like a progression to it. So you don't have to be careful with that first landing. You have time to kind of warm up, and once you get into the groove, the coloring has already reached the level that's appropriate, and now you could go ham with shaping the arch, getting a little more color to the body, maybe placing more strokes here on the front. What a phenomenal experience. And for sure, I'm curious about the other shades, because if they perform like khaki and sand in any capacity, in just having that nuanced undertone that sure appears differently on the swatch, might be hard to detect on the brows themselves, but the shading and the color it provides, I can't. Now with this Reflect highlighter, applied it here on my cheekbones, and because of its reflectivity, I think it will be helpful to either apply something like the Dior Star Filter first, a shimmer stick. You could actually use Suqqu's highlighter stick, the Balm, which is just translucent, to have a little more adherence. I applied setting spray on today, again, to have some moisture on the cheekbones so that Reflect texture can melt successfully into the skin. Glassy, not heavy on the skin, and I'm happy with Opal, okay? Do I still want Sakura Quartz? 100%. Although I'm not entirely sure how highlighted it will appear on my skin tone. That's why I chose white Opal, because I think it's a little more translucent. Sakura Quartz might be a blush topper moment for me, but I'm not entirely sure. We shall see. We shall see what happens on the 12th. Now for this loose powder. Okay, so again, Suqqu has their smooth matte loose powder, but I believe it only came in like 2 shades or 1 shade, and I went in with Sonia's Tradition series Kiyaki Kakishibu TF1, applying E30 first. And with any loose powder, friends, it doesn't matter which one you use, I highly suggest that you adequately swirl your brush in the lid with the loose powder. You don't want to tap and place, because I think that now requires you to blend more. You run the risk of having powder patches on your skin where they'll latch on to areas that have a little more moisture than others. In this way, when the powder is evenly distributed in the bristles, you then just have a more even smooth application upon contact. And that's exactly what I achieved here. I whipped E30 on one side of my skin. And for foundation, I did apply Suqqu's cream foundation, or just the foundation, in 040, which is exactly my skin tone. And compared to the rest of my body, a little too light right now for the season. However, E30 gives me the golden boost that I needed without appearing too warm. And here is the still shot between E30 on one side and just the Suqqu foundation on the other side, and you can see E30 gives me a little bit of that boost, and it's not too much coloring. And why I chose TF1, because it is a fluffy enough brush to place the product all over my skin, not in a heavy way, and the texture is phenomenal. It's lightweight and just whips on my skin, and it's almost like creamy despite it being a matte powder. Okay, and then I decided to use Bobo and Chico Holo's collab brush, the Gray Squirrel and Psycho Ho mix powder brush, because okay, why wouldn't we? And this was more of like a tap and fluff moment as opposed to like a whip and paddle moment that I did with Sonia's brush. Again, was able to achieve beautiful coloring, but you can see I could overdo it. If I apply too much, I could appear a little too golden. That's why I was conservative with how much powder I poured in the lid and how much I picked up with the brush, because I could have overdid it 100%. And here are some close-ups of how the powder appears on the skin. Again, beautifully smooth and lightweight, virtually undetectable. Now with E40, because you're wondering, well, you can't apply that all over your face, dear friend, because of your complexion. I know. I decided to apply this like I do with Pat loose powder, and I'll have those comparisons swatches after we run through this footage. This is more of like my red tone terracotta bronzy shade that I ran through again with TF1 through the hollows of my cheeks, around the forehead, down the jawline. Look at that. It is absolutely beautiful. It's just a soft, diffusing serving of color. It has that red undertone that doesn't appear so red that it looks out of place, but I think it's a great foundation if I wish to apply another bronzer, which I did today. I applied E40 first and went in with YSL's bronzer in Warm Sandalwood. And then I decided to go in with the Silver Fox and Psycho Ho mix brush, because if I wanted a little more, this is a denser brush. It doesn't have the same fluidity as Sonia's. So if you really wanted a little more color through the hollows, I just punched it in. But what a testament to this powder's texture. The fact that I don't need to swirl and twirl it around my frish. I could just tap it on and it virtually blends itself. And I think it gives me fantastic warmth without appearing too red tone, without completely distorting my complexion, despite the fact that I am neutral, right? I don't think these shades overall, and you can let me know down below if otherwise, they don't make me appear orange. They don't make me appear oddly golden. It hits the notes well. And if you are deeper than me, then you can probably use E30 under your eyes. And E40, if you're not a red undertone, I'm not entirely sure how successful that will be for your entire complexion, because, you know, not all deeper complected people have red undertones. Neutral, golden, red golden, like mediums and the lights, right? We all have different nuances in our complexion, so you have to decide for yourself whether E30 or E40 will be a good match for your face. I have been using, again, both shades on me successfully. Again, E30 all over lightly, just to bring up a little bit of that goldenness to match the rest of my body from the Suqqu Foundation, and using E40 for like that haze. Okay, and allow me to make these quick comparisons. Hold on. Just to confirm, the Smooth Matte Loose Powder currently only comes in one shade, and that is the shade here. You see it almost has like a lavender tinge to it, which sure, I could use under my eyes lightly, right? But something I wouldn't use on the rest of my face. My apologies, it's hard to see with the light. Let's see, we could pour some in the cap. So again, this is the current color for their smooth matte powder, ultra light. And now we have E30 again, and I'm swatching these wide in order to leave room for the Pat McGrath swatches. Now we have E30, that's around my skin tone, and E40. For Pat's loose powder, I thought of light medium 2 as well as medium 3 and medium deep 4. Light medium 2, and I think Suqqu needs their version of light medium 2, right? Because the smooth matte powder in this shade, although might appear light, like light medium 2, the lavender undertone I don't think will do as well on medium to tan skin tones as light medium 2 does. This has more of like a yellow tinge to it, which people generally prefer if they want that brightening effect under the eyes, but not necessarily want to apply a lighter shade that has a pink or lavender undertone to it. And now for medium 3, which is similar to E30, I think medium 3 might have a little more. Let's see here. So this is Suqqu. Similar. Suqqu appears to be a little more beige, whereas medium 3 has a little more, I know orange is a strong word, but I think you can detect that medium 3 has a little more, the golden is more turned up from that shade. And lastly, medium deep 4, definitely similar. Oh gosh, I'm getting powder all over the place. Definitely similar to E40. Again, ooh-wee! Look how red tone medium deep 4 is next to E40. E40 appears golden next to that shade, my goodness. So those are the comparisons. If you already have Pat's powder and are completely happy with that, you don't necessarily have to buy the Suqqu powder, because the Suqqu powder is quite large. This is Suqqu and this is Pat. So you are paying more for more product, and if you don't think it a practical decision, because if you don't use loose powder often, if not at all, I don't think this is something you should consider buying. But if you are a loose powder connoisseur and you heavily rely on it, then maybe you can consider it. I have been using the heck out of it. Now I'm in loose powder nation. Before, I rarely wore it just because of my drier skin. Overall, I just used a foundation, but I realized with a few of my foundation shades, again, like the Suqqu one, not an ideal match for me at the moment. It does appear a little more light, but now having E30, it just balances me out successfully. And with E40, to add a little more warmth, again, lightly to the hollows of my cheeks and around the perimeters of my forehead. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And even with the warmer shades, the white opal highlighter I think fits well. It's a matter of realizing to use the right brush and not to over apply the highlighter, but to tap it lightly and just to create more of that translucent glass effect for a highlight on my cheekbones, then we're good to go. If you're wondering what I have on the rest of my face, I do have the Miyabi collection on from Suqqu, the 141 quad with the lavender tones, the blurring blush in at 05, and the Moisture Glaze lipstick in 11. Again, all from the Miyabi collection. The only products that I personally would not purchase will be the 3D Control Brow, because I usually don't rely on brow powders for my brows. I rather either use a gel or a pencil, and the coloring brow. The reason why I say that is the only role this would play is if I were to apply a little more dimension here on the front of my brow, right? If I want this part of my brow to appear lighter, I think this is an indulging step, right? Because not quite necessary, but I can recognize, I mean, that, ooh, okay, maybe I'm speaking too soon. That definitely adds nice dimension where it creates a soft gradient of color. The front of my brow appears lighter and then it goes into a darker gradient here through the tail. Listen, because I have all these products already, I want to use the heck out of them. But I understand if you are on a budget and Selfridges delivery is $30 no matter how much you buy. And if you decide to directly purchase from the counter, you will need to hit a $150 threshold in order to be eligible for free shipping. So it really all depends on where you want to go. But all these links will be available down below. Not yet, because the products are not yet live at this time of filming and probably on time of upload, but do look out for them on the 12th. I will at least have the Suqqu homepage link down in the description box, and I'm sure the eyebrow pencils will be featured as the first products to show up whenever they go live. This is an issue we run into because UK time is ahead of our time. I don't quite know the actual time they will drop. It could be like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. our time, because that's already like mid-morning over there. So if you want to get up and refresh, or if you just want to contact the Suqqu counter directly because you already know what you're about to get, and I'll have all the prices down below. I have to make the conversions because of the pounds to USD. You know how that goes. And if you want to tally everything up and prepare for that, then please do. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Consider liking the video, maybe consider subscribing, and stay tuned as we have August favorites next. Oh, what a month this was. I will see you down in those comments and on here again soon.